What is this garbage? No way. Ooh, this guy thinks he's Captain Knots. Thinks he's Captain Tying Knots. When everyone needs some knots tied, they go to him.
Rock and roll is very simple. Just 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is rock and roll. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Välkommen till livestreamen.
Hello. Let me know if I'm still muted. It's being a little goofy for me. But what's going on, everybody? It is nice to be here on this gloomy day here. It's been like raining nonstop. Our dog has not gone outside since like last night early. He's just refusing. But I hope you guys are doing well. We're going to be jumping back into... yeah, you like that intro? What's up, buddy? Yeah, we're going to be jumping back into Mr. Kenny's song himself. He is joining us right now, doing some stuff with that, and then possibly a little bit with that guest solo that I've been slacking on. Hello, welcome. Hope you're having a good day. Be sure to check out the sponsors. We do have some cool new stuff coming up, so if you haven't been on recently, like, there'll be some announcements on like Instagram and stuff for sure too. But Jen's been like redoing our whole website and system and everything, and we're doing a little test run this Saturday after the normal stream. So we'll stream until 2, then we'll have a little bit of a break, and then 2:30 o'clock is what I was gonna say. We're going to do this a guided practice. Well, I guess it's sort of a stream, but it's private. And so if anyone's interested in that for the little test run, let me know. Just get in touch with me in an email, direct message, whatever. And we'll get you the information, because that's not going to be done through Twitch. It's just more private. It's something that's free for all of the students. And then something you got people that are not students could also sign up for. But this Saturday, we're going to do a little trial run with a guided practice session. Essentially, this is going to rotate through various topics and show, like, basically how to practice better yourself. So while there'll be a topic and like something coming from me, it's also going to be based on the people that are in the session, right? So helping people, I kind of think if you've done a master class before, it's going to be sort of that format where big picture topic, and then we're focusing on different people's individual issues, we'll call them, right? Things they're trying to get accomplished or whatever, maybe things they're struggling with or things that are going well. But that's super useful, and I think a lot of people miss that. It's really cool to see different ways of approaching the same thing, because everybody understands things differently. So if you've ever taken like a music theory class or something, you get a little bit of that being in the classroom setting in general. But being able to see a new angle to something you might even know already can be really, really cool. So I'm looking forward to that. That'll be Tuesday or 2:30 on Saturday. And I think over the summer we're going to end up adding another one of those. So, since I don't have anything to write this down right now, Jen, would you mind doing me a little favor and just write a note so I can send him the information? I'm not prepared. But yeah, it should be fun. And like I said, we're going to give it a little trial run. Yeah, maybe see if there's anything that, maybe there's something part about it that sucks, and we need to rethink it. But I'm looking forward to it. So, cool. So I think we should start taking a little listen again. While we're doing this, Kenny, what would be a direction, or like you could say a few different things here, but what would be the direction you would want to take this? Or is there some sort of specific area that you feel like maybe you're struggling with, or something I guess more specific, like rather than, I can just keep like building this in whatever direction, but I'm curious because like I think since you checked it out, I think last time I made kind of a simple version of it, right, where stripped down the chords, wasn't really playing it like as it was tabbed out and stuff like that. But let's hear what we have so far. Here, let's listen. Let's skim through the original MIDI file. It sounds a little goofy the way that it loaded these instruments, but kind of get a sense of where it started, because there's a lot of cool ideas in there that I think would be nice to transfer into, we'll call it the new version. But really, this is all just me winging it, right? So let's see. I'll start it over in a sec right there. But like this part that we kind of designed as like a new chunk, that has like those high note changes that I think are way cooler. I didn't put anything like that. So having the, what is it? Yeah, that's cool. There's a lot of cool little layers in there that, like I said, we totally ignored when we'll listen to the what I did. But like this little the violin kind of stuff. The build up is cool. The higher parts that come in there, having that. I just muted myself, but those melodies were. That wasn't the sound I was expecting. There we go. So here this has the like part that was on the harp originally still, but we also. No, not a commercial. Here, we're pausing it for a second. That's I have to get better at that. Oh, that's funny. The let's see. I think. Yeah, that's bullshit. Who set up this channel? Oh man. That's we've got what, a couple seconds. I don't have the and we're back. All right. That's hilarious. Yeah, they an ad popped up. I didn't have the Twitch screen up to skip it. Cuz I didn't realize it was popping up right now. But let's jump back in here. There shouldn't be another one for at least an hour or so. And that's just got that really boring. I mean, I think we just put this in for the texture, but that little ambient kind of thing in the background. Yeah, right. Dude, I think the ad settings when we first, like, by default were like every like half an hour or something. It was it would play like 3 minutes or something crazy. Well, thank you. So like right here, this is a very stripped down version, right? This is where it would totally be cool to have those higher notes. There's something going on with my volume pot. Oh, yeah, you gifted the wrong person. That's funny. Give it back, 1, 2, 3. That was not for you. Oh, that's funny. I don't know how any of that stuff works. I appreciate it all when anyone does it, but I don't know. But yeah, like right here, having that. Not the chosen one this time, apparently. Maybe next time. So yeah, so we just had kind of like a rough arrangement, just saying like how you could think of it more as like chunks, right? That's back to like that, the version of this, which we had the E minor, because the original chord progression, right, was doing more E minor to C, and then you had that cool little borrowed thing at the end. So when we have... Yeah, so this, that E minor to the C, and you had that cool E flat to E minor kind of thing. So yeah, this is just a, I don't know, you could maybe be a verse or something. same kind of thing as before. So there's a ton of different directions we could take. What are you hearing in your head, Kenny? Like what? Is there something that you would want to like specifically see happen, or some not even if there's not a specific idea, but if you wanted to see some sort of technique or concept like applied, or making some, I don't know, transition or a new part for it, or you think it's sexy? Yeah, it sounds good. Yeah, it seems like for me, like from my perspective, for you, it's like you have a ton of really good ideas. It's like putting them all together, right, and getting some sort of some kind of, yeah, for sure, some sort of melody. Yeah, you could do the cool thing that I think you could do with your idea, and you kind of did it in that MIDI that you sent me in the guitar profile, but where you've got like some counterpoint and some other melodies going on like simultaneously. That could be really cool as like multiple lead guitar parts. That could be something cool where, you have it depends on your instrumentation, right? So I could see that being like, you could have a clean guitar with almost like the melody being played on the guitar at the same time, like a chord solo sort of thing. You could do like a piano playing the melody, or lead guitars, like I said. You could have, can really go any direction, right? And it kind of depends on the mood that you want. I feel like cello is always a good option because it is sexy AF. But, you could do a lot. And oftentimes I'll do it with just, it does feel kind of like Opeth for sure. A lot of times I'll write something on like say guitar and then play it on a totally different instrument for the final, just because it works better. I think as guitar players, we're pretty guilty a lot of the times of putting the entire song's responsibility on just us, especially when you play by yourself, right? So you since you're sitting around playing with yourself all the time, right? It's nice to have a different perspective and have it think of it more as the team effort, not so much you are responsible for every part about this. So I definitely think this definitely goes the Opeth direction, right, where there could be a lot of dynamics in this. And that's the last time I was talking a bit about Clint Mansell, the composer. Yeah, it's very cool to add those things in. And I think because of the types of textures that you have, it works really well with, like, I love the sound of having, like, the strip down thing's cool. It's kind of what I ended up doing with my album, actually, because it started with layer upon layer upon layer, and it sounds way cooler just being, there's still a lot, but it's like multiple clean guitars instead of a full orchestra kind of thing. It's kind of been cool to listen back in a new way. All right, so we have, let's say we're going to talk about some, like, adding some melody in here. So so right here you have, let's kind of combine them. That makes sense. The cool thing, what's interesting is, like, for you writing this, like doing this with Guitar Pro, I wouldn't have necessarily thought that you wrote it in Guitar Pro, because, like, normally when that happens, things feel a little bit more mechanical. And I think because of your background, it kind of naturally is a little bit more organic than that. There's some students I've taught, for example, that they've only written in Guitar Pro, and everything is very, rhythmically speaking, things tend to be more predictable, I guess is a good way of saying it. But you have, so let's build a little melody on here, and just this will be a good thing to talk about, because when you're coming up with a hook, like the motif is what they would call it in music, and the motif is just basically a theme, pretty small theme most of the time, and they tend to be based on either note choice or rhythms, and you can do a combination of those for sure. but having some sort of repetitive note or notes or some sort of repetitive rhythm helps unify everything. And so your motif right here, whether you realized it or not, you got this. You got a little boiled down right there. Right? Those, you got the E going to the G and the E going to the B. And then you had like a little bit of embellishment and stuff, of course. So if we're gonna start, let me change this to a little bit of a, I don't want to go too crazy right now, but just something that'll cut a little better. Yeah, so like in the song, right, I've talked about this when I'm doing the like my album, but I don't really get the final tones or anything like that now. This is totally just to get the ideas out. All right, so if we were to play. A cool start, because that, I mean, if we were to stop right now, I'm guessing that's probably going to be pretty much like you can hum that, right? It's stuck in your head. So what we want to do then is take that and make it more interesting, right? It doesn't have to be complicated. That's one thing I should bring up. You kind of want to take it to whatever interest level. I guess you can't see that hand. You want to go to whatever interest level is like needed, right? So sometimes you need the speed, sometimes you need more embellishments or more whatever. Sometimes you need more. Most of the time, especially depending on how you layer these ideas, this could sound really cool with something like really simple, like what I was just playing, and then something slightly more busy on top of that as well. So but just to like start kind of just give an example of fleshing this out. Right? Same thing pretty much, with just little slight changes in there. And most of the time, just talking about variations, one of the most common like structures for having variation in your music is to go A, B, A, C, or think of it as part one, play a variation of part one, part one again, and then you play something totally different, or whatever you want as the fourth part, like fourth chunk, I guess you would say. So idea one, variation, idea one again, then another variation. That's a really good way of just like unifying things in a simple way. So as an example for that, we could do our little and then instead of doing that again at the end, I'll just do something completely different, and it'll work just great. So if we took, what do I want to do? All right. example of that where the variation was like the last like 2 chords. Thank you, Jan. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of really badass ideas in here that I guess maybe this might be something that's maybe a little tricky for you, but prioritizing them, right? So when you have these different melodies going on, it's like, which one do I actually choose? You know, how loud is this? Let's see how loud we can hit. Yeah, one other thing too, I didn't even bring up, but I should have. It's also important to figure out how you want to play your idea once you figure that out, right? So if you figure out your notes, then find the way of, I'm not really worried right now about like the technique or anything like that. So if I were to really just say I'm recording the simple version of this, like what I'm going to do as an example right now, I would absolutely, I got to turn this up actually a little bit right now. I would totally probably end up playing this on 1 string as a way of getting a more dramatic sound to get a slide. So instead of doing go slide up like that, I just think it's going to end up translating to more the way that I would like it, you know. Okay, that's a really good move. So I definitely think keeping it simpler at first is the way to go, especially early on. Like if this was, if this is maybe repeating towards the end, like I kind of re-recorded it, right, with like the heavier version, maybe then you could just jump into something more intense. But especially with the way that this is going, build it up, right? And you brought up a good thing. Going to a higher register automatically kind of makes it feel like we're building towards something, which is really cool. So like, if I play essentially the same phrase, right, and I go like, right, just kind of like build the phrase up. If I play something very similar but going back, right, a little bit more conclusive. Holy shit. I don't know which one I want. Yeah, let's use the 6th string. I've got thicker strings on this, but hey, what's up, Mad Mac? How are you? Oh, you know what? I actually don't want these. I forgot I didn't send it up. Welcome, Raiders. Nice to have you all. How was your stream? How are you guys? It is nice to see you guys. Oh, this one? This is a pretty sick guitar. I'm figuring out upgrades and stuff for it, kind of experimenting, but it's pretty badass. My only complaint with that is the high fret access is a little suspect at times. But yeah, it's real cool. It's nice to have some options around here. But that's awesome. How was your guys' stream? Flexing. It's yeah. So for you guys that are just joining us, we had someone, Kenny, who's on the chat. He submitted a song idea. We're kind of going through and building it in different ways. We just started playing around with melodies, and yeah, we're gonna just kind of experiment, kind of going through a bunch of the process of building a song, right? Because I'm sure you guys, if you play, you know, it's super easy just to get stuck and not figure out transitions and stuff like that. So right here. So even just like increasing the intensity by like changing the bends and stuff like that, you know, getting more and more of, you know, more intense vibrato, more it doesn't have to be more notes, right? So when we're starting with, oh, thanks, I appreciate the kind words. We'll, so let's start like Kenny's idea. Start with something simple, move it up to a higher register, and yeah. So I'll just improvise some stuff. We'll see where it goes. Thanks again, Matt. To like the original concept, you don't have to constantly be going crazy and going in that direction, right? Oh, well, thanks guys, I appreciate you, that means a lot. But yeah, the thing I was gonna say though is if you have a what was I gonna say, if you have that simple melody, you can always add more complicated melodies as well. So let's just do, because that can be a really cool texture. So you could have like let's just get that one simple thing recorded real quick. Just so we have some sort of little foundation. Oh, I appreciate it. The beard's getting a little outrageous, but I do like it. Yeah, those two are cool, right? Where are all of you guys from then? It's always cool to meet some new people on here. All right, so we have that simple melody gonna be in the background. It might be a little bit, let's see how loud that is. Yeah, that going, right? With the fast stuff there, I mean, it's volume-wise, it's a little fucky right now. But if you have that fast stuff, the main melody going and the fast stuff in the background, that can be really sick. That's it's a super cool way of having something, adding a little intensity, but having it not be like, just smashing you in the face. Oh, Jason Becker actually, speaking of Becker, I'm not using it right now, but these are his the picks that he uses, or not uses, but his signature. Wow, that was a sad comment, right? These are the ones that like from his the Swiss Picks company. I just started working with them, and they his model I think is my favorite. I really like the sound of it. It's a little bit warmer than like, I don't know if I've showed you this in a while, but like the green one, for example, that's like Rusty Cooley's model. It's a lot brighter sounding. So it's hopefully it gives me some of that power, right? Yeah, Swiss Picks. Yeah, so Bulgaria, India, it's nice. That's killer. Oh, it's got nice. Yeah, these picks are great. I don't remember when it was, maybe a couple months ago when I started working with them. I did a little tone test thing, and I really enjoy them. But yeah, Kenny, I do like the sound. I do like the sweeps, especially if you were to, you know, maybe if you were to actually plan it out, right, and not just be all over the place with it like that. But having, like I said, that you get that main hook in the front, and then it just. Problem too though, and this is just something that I would do as I like thinking about like the actual recording of something like this, is just the pitch range. We don't want a lot of things in that same thing. Let's give it a shot. Why not? Yeah, we started, so just to go back to show this, actually this is a good thing to bring it back up. This was the original thing that he sent me, was just this little so an E minor and a C going back and forth, which sounds cool. We had no melodies before. But yeah, if we were to do, here, let's mute these. So what are you saying? Yeah, you can definitely, like, right now with just those individual notes, right? You can build this in a lot of ways. There's, like, as far as making that more interesting, even just talking about notes, right? Like, flub notes and everything. It's live, right? But the yeah, it sounds really good. And I think so many people are, like I was saying, in this kind of situation where they have a lot of like really, really killer ideas, and it doesn't get like developed into something. And there's a lot of times where people think too much of a right and wrong, right? And yeah, it's crazy how the different melodies people hear, right? Like, to get dorky with the theory stuff, just for a second, the note that you hit that sounds resolved, that's part of the chord, and depending on which note you hit, it's gonna feel very different. So like if we have, let me just loop. If we were only looping that first chord, so an E minor, if I hit the E note, sounds very different than if I hit that, or if I hit the third. Right? Each of those notes has like a very different feel and pull to it. So if you were to go through this and each time you hit that E minor chord, you hit a different chord tone, or what else? I mean, like changing up those rhythms, or yeah, E harmonic minor, perfect, right? Especially when there's that little borrowed bits and stuff. But yeah, like, and especially if it was just this chord, right? I could switch around tonalities and stuff, go crazy. You can go back and forth. Yeah, there you go. So we have that. Obviously, if you only hit the notes that are in the chord, it would get a little bit boring. But if we let's open this back up to the progression. If we go. Bouncing back, and that's why I love like minor and harmonic minor and stuff, is you can jump back and forth so easily, and it doesn't it's not as like in your face as some of the other concepts. But yeah, like if let's say we're doing like that really simple melody again, just focusing in on, let's say maybe say after all this experimenting, right? Let's say Kenny decides, okay, I want harmonic minor for part of it, and I like the sound of the slides and bends. I think we were playing around a little bit before with like bending from notes that aren't in the key. That's a really cool idea. But maybe we want to do that stuff, and we're going to play around with just that and changing what notes we're focusing on. So maybe the first, I'll start on the first. So if I do that, let me break it down real quick. So I got my first right here. Maybe I want to do, hit the fifth then. That could work. The first time will be the first and the fifth. Right there, when I end on that root note, it's the most complete sounding. But yeah, choosing other ones, playing around with the non-chord tones is also really important. It's not going to be your ending notes, but it's how you create the tension. So maybe I want to start this with a suspension. So I'm going to go up F sharp note. It's all later, you know. Yeah, there you go. I like that style, right? Yeah. It's hard to go wrong with the prog stuff. It's funny to me, like, more so like when I first started teaching, but the things that feel totally normal to me that most people like look at you like you're crazy, like weird rhythms and, you know, whatever. Like, what do you, people can't understand it. All right, so, and one other thing too, like we don't even have a form or arrangement for this, and a lot of times that's how I do work, is I'll just have random shit everywhere, and then arrange it later. But I would totally take some of those ideas that we had for that part in this other chord progression we had. There's a lot of really, yeah, man. We're going to have to have you play around with it and, like, get you over here to give, like, we should do an update or something. Like, once you've played around with the idea more and, you know, get something truly recorded. Because there's so many possibilities. It's always, like you guys were saying, it's so cool how people just think differently. Yeah, the improvising, appreciate the kind words, but yeah, the improvising is overlooked a lot of times, it seems like now. I feel like with YouTube, there's been a lot of good from YouTube, but I think one of the bad things is some of it's become more of like a competition, and it's a lot of, yeah, I wish people would, it seems like there needs to be more improvising, less... This is how, like, technical stuff. I'm not articulating that exactly right, but improvising is important, and I agree. So yeah, actually just realized I was gonna bring up that bending from notes out of the key. So if you hit if you bend from a note that's not non-diatonic, not in your key, into a note that's in your key, it's super dramatic. It's a very Marty Friedman-esque sort of thing to do. Yeah, it's so like right here. Let's see. So if I'm gonna bend an F note, which we don't have. I ended up doing more notes. The first one was the F, but yeah, that's a really cool vocal kind of thing to do. Yeah, Marty's the man. He's always had a really interesting way of playing. I mean, physically an interesting way of playing because of his bizarre right hand, but his notes and like I love his phrasing. It's awesome. Yeah, so Kenny, are you gonna put like a Marty Friedman, Jason Becker-esque sweep section in this? That'd be sick. Because you definitely started to, in your original idea, started to building that up, right? So right there, that'd be really cool. That little ba-na-na-na-na. Playing around with like some sort of a repetitive thing with that. That's awesome. Hero Joshi for sure. Let's do a little Hero Joshi on this. So yeah, for those that don't know, that's just a Japanese pentatonic scale essentially. So with our pentatonic, we skip the second and the sixth note of minor. Hero Joshi is skipping the fourth and the seventh. So you only have notes 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. It's a really sweet one. Yeah, Hero Joshi and harmonized. Let's do it. I like it. So here, we're just... Joshi is really cool. If you were to use it on that one chord that hits the E flat, you would want to shift it for sure, or just avoid those notes, right? Yeah, Kenny does play. He is a good player. How long have I known you now, Kenny? I've been teaching for so long, I start losing track of that stuff. Especially when I've had, like, you weren't one of these, but I've had students that like start at like 6 and then come back to lessons or continue forever, and like they're in college now and stuff. It's always oh nice. That's funny. Yeah. It's not a competition, man. There's no worse player. There's yeah, that was a while ago. That's crazy. Yeah, it's not a competition. One of the coolest things that I've said this a bunch, but like I got to see from touring, like with some crazy good players. Like I always use Jeff Loomis as the example, but we were I was playing in a band that was opening up for him on the tour. And so we were hanging out in the green room, and he was constantly trying to learn from everybody. And, like, he would always be picking up tricks, from, like things you wouldn't expect, right? Like, you don't expect Jeff Loomis to show up and then learn a bunch of stuff from the local band, but he did. And then I heard him using some of those tricks, on his, like, on the next album and stuff like that. So regardless of how good you are, there's always, obviously, a lot of shit to learn, and I feel like you can learn a lot from people whether they're better or worse, or it doesn't really matter. There's always something you can learn. It's a good way to think about it, right? Okay, so yeah, so if we let's see something. Effective, but not so good. That's a I like that. I also like this harmony. So if I were to do, I'm gonna think about that. If I were to do those, I definitely like the slides, and the like that definitely sounds cool to me. For those harmonies, I probably like, especially if we were keeping the melody simple, I think the harmony would deviate a little bit. So, like meaning you could totally embellish it or change the harmony. Changing the harmony might be a little weird, right? Like if we were just to go to, let's say fourths, right? Yeah, I don't like that one so much, right? So if we were to do this, let's say more with those thirds, that I think sounded pretty good. Or even like a low octave, maybe. That could be, let's just see what that, hear that. Like we were talking about, right? You could have lots and lots and lots of layers. It's kind of unlimited. So in my head, if I like, because we've said that this could be, obviously could be a part that you repeat. Maybe you do it the first time, it keeps to the simple melody and adds the third harmony. Maybe the next time it starts embellishing it more. And I'll just, like what I was thinking about for that would be just to add a little bit more in between those notes at times, not the whole time, but let's say something like this. Right, and you can go do some more wheelie bits. Kind of, you could elevate it or strip it back down as much as you want. And honestly, that's a really good exercise for a lot of the, I know the stuff that you like. That's a really good, yep, the wheelies. Yeah, it's a great thing to play around with dynamics. I think most people end up finding that they have like certain tendencies that are easier for them in that regard, where like for me it was easier to build the intensity, but I wasn't so good at like bringing it back down. So like, you know, going from something super intense to something very mellow, or something that gradually loses its intensity, which I think is kind of tricky to do. You know, things that are, like just weren't my go-to, right? Yeah, but especially later on when we've got that here, let me just do this real quick. I'm just gonna put this. Actually, so let's let me do this real quick, just to show you, because even if we had more layers, it would still be okay. Right, so maybe, that plays once, and the harmony comes in, and forgive the vibratos not being matched up. I'm not going to waste the time just nailing all those, but... Obviously right there, the volumes are starting to clash, but you can draw, you can EQ things or just in general mix things differently so they stand out at different parts. You can have it automated to fade in and out. You can do a lot of stuff with this, and I think that's really cool because you have a kind of classical way of composing, and you can see in your MIDI file at the beginning with these. Like you were saying, it sounded good in Guitar Pro. So to figure out translating those to a guitar lead, or if you wanted those as the violin or whatever, getting all of those little extra parts in there are really cool. I'm digging it. There's so much effects on that guitar. It's almost like as one of the studios that I worked at more, I haven't in forever, they had an analog delay unit that we would run stuff through, but it would echo forever. And every time you started over, you'd have to wait for it to actually stop. And even in a little break, if you did that, you could, no real rule, right? Yeah, I think breaks are really cool. If I were doing this piece myself, let me think. The way that I kind of hear this part that we have that melody on, I could see it being the chorus or the verse, depending if that's the structure you're going for. That could totally work as a verse, more of a chorus, and right here when you go. Bigger solo for this part, but again, you can bring back those themes, and it's not like you have to do a totally new idea, right? Actually, that if you guys had seen the Paul Wardingham thing I've been doing lately a little bit, that's there's a lot of good examples in that. That verse melody, every time he plays it, it has the same core, but a totally different variation on that. So your core for that one part, right? It's really cool. Yeah, you've got so yeah, I was saying if I was doing this, I would maybe put honestly, you could even do some other little break later would be cool. Where maybe you just have, it could be the same thing, but just maybe something even shorter. And this is just a little example, but something where it just cuts out for a second and then hits even harder. That maybe you have a shorter one where you do I'll put the click on for this, but myself. That was bullshit. Still kind of bullshit, but whatever. Yeah, it wasn't exactly what I was doing. But that idea, right? Like you could have it cut out a second time, do some sort of fast lead and go into something bigger. I might have been saying this the last one, but I think it's real important to think about what you want that part to sound like when it hits. Because I think a lot of people get stuck writing start to finish, and it's really good to go the other way around sometimes. So what do you want it to sound like right before this, and what do you want it to sound like when that part happens? So in this case, it would be like you wanted it to sound like getting hit upside the head, right? Like just like get their attention right away. You might not. I think maybe earlier in that song, I would do more of the build-up that you kind of had mapped out already with the... Because if you have something like that, that'd be really badass. Let's just play with that. So if we were to take, and this is going to be a real quick version, because when I'm doing this stuff, I could spend hours like dorking out with all of this. Let's just get, let's see. So like we just have the kick on a quarter note, eighth notes on the toms, you know, kind of gradually building up. Let's just see. So we could have it like I said, I'm just doing a really quick bullshit version of this, but you could have, let's see. So then let's put some accents in there, right? Get rid of those. And I would make these way, way more interesting. You know, like have this, play around with the dynamics of it all, make it a lot more, just more interesting, right? But if we have, okay, so let's just say we have this going. All right, so now, okay, so maybe the first time it's what we were just talking about. Let's say this time we start adding maybe, and again, just some extra little hits. Third time, bass drum builds up. Fourth time, it's just let's say that. Okay, here's our bullshit build up, right? And the whole time, and actually let me do this. You could have it like, to figure out like your cutout, right? Like we could just get rid of it like half a measure. And then back in, right? So if we take all of you guys, we don't need that. All right, let me just, I'm just gonna record one little build-up guitar, and then start on the actual measure. So obviously in the real version we would do like some automation, right, and make this like fade it, those chugs kind of fade in, do some cool stuff with that. But just to show you, you could start with something. Well, in all honesty, that was a little bit of a letdown, but you get the idea. Something wicked in between here. Some Rick Graham stuff. Damn it. Nope. But yeah, like the he went back into that melody. Nice. The like I keep bringing him up, but film composers are really good to listen to. I think for this kind of stuff, you know. Yeah, there's a ton of them, right? The that song that I mentioned last time, just bring it up again. That Lux Eterna song, or whatever you say it. It's a great example. It's 3 chords, 4 melody notes, but it's like 7 minutes and it stays interesting. So the yeah, I mean, like I was definitely, when I was younger, super guilty of thinking like things only worked in certain situations, right? So I'd kind of get keep people guessing. Yeah, I would just be like, oh, it's not a good enough thing if I don't do X amount of time signature changes, or if I don't have this technique and stuff. And if it sounds good, it is good, right? It's totally cool. You can just there's no right or wrong. It's music. What is this thing over here? Oh, that's just our little yeah. It'd be really cool, I think, too, once you Island Boy. Oh God, can you imagine if you cut into that mid-song? Everybody, all the listeners just start looking like Rugrats. The I do think I'm not you know, honestly, that might be hilarious to just do it for the meme views, right? It's almost like I don't know, there's some funny stuff out there that's like definitely gotten. I'm trying to think of a good example of one that like well, they like that band that was based off of like the Simpsons character, the Flanders one, right? Yeah, the new Rickroll. Nice. Dude, that'd be genius marketing if you could somehow get yourself to become the new Rick Astley, like where everyone uses it to get everyone. I don't even know. I can't remember, but that has so many like an insane number of times that's been played on YouTube because of that, right? Billions. I was gonna say, like, I think maybe doing like some of this stuff in a more, like you were kind of saying at the beginning, like a stripped down version could be really sweet. If we, let's put as much distortion as possible. Let's see. Oh no! Let's see. While he's enjoying his commercials. Let's see. So if we wanted. Yep, those messages. I think. So when you guys get ads, maybe Jen or someone knows, does it just it shows a small version of me or something like that, so you still see what's going on but just can't hear it? I'm not sure how that all works. Oh, okay. All right, well, I'm guessing you're back, hopefully. I was gonna say, like, a mellow version of that part would be pretty cool, especially as, like, either, like, an extended part where it's a little bit more mellow. But in my head, based on these ideas, I definitely hear something where, here. Like I said, we want some sexy cello, right? C can't hear, okay. Yeah, Jen, that's too bad the sub didn't go to Kenny, because then he wouldn't have ads anymore. Let's see, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if I just take the E to the C thing, and let's just pretend like this is a cello. Right, and then just so it's not we'll do the click for right now. I know, right? Yeah, I do make some money off of them, I guess. I don't know. I haven't really for a long time I didn't make enough money on Twitch, right, to justify them sending me a paycheck. So that's it. That's weird. It was that many. I wonder how long it was, because I think my controls set like how long it's supposed to go for, but yeah, I was gonna say, like, maybe doing like a mellow version, like something nope. It's always great when you fuck up with the effects on, right? Super slop. But maybe those effects will help. Right, but just cutting, like, oops. Yeah, so having something like this, get rid of the click track for a bit, right? Oh, don't have it on the lead guitar. And like the cool thing about recording versus being like live is you can automate all of these effects. So like one thing I've been kind of experimenting with a little bit, I might use it on my album, is like increasing the gain as you as like a solo progresses. Or so like in this case, you could have the gain of your lead guitar gradually get more intense, to the point where, like, at the end when it kicks in, it's like the full lead tone kind of thing. But so yeah, sorry for the slop, but at least you get the idea, right? Where you could have a different version of the same thing. And then in this case, let's put a different. Where is that strat tone? That was so like have some very similar but just done in a different way. That can go a long way, right? Because then it's not like they're hearing the same thing again. It's a different texture to it. Let's move this shit around. Just realized it's getting close to 2:30 here, so let's move this. What are you? Oh. So yeah, just as like some BS arrangement, let's just listen to the whole, like the random idea, kind of get, maybe it'll help hearing ideas back to back, hear what you might want to repeat or anything. Yeah, at the end of this, Kenny, I can send whatever you want. If you want me to send you like a MP3 of this or the MIDI or whatever, let me know. And also, I mean, if anyone else does want to submit some stuff, I think I have one or two still that I can pull from people that have submitted stuff. But yeah, I'm always interested in checking out what you guys are working on. All right, let's just let's give this. Let me actually 140. Okay, so we're starting at like 1 minute and 40 seconds, and then we're ending at like 5 minutes and 30 seconds. So we've got several minutes of just a couple ideas, really, and that's pretty cool. guess I forgot it ended there, and I forgot about the break. But that sounded pretty sweet. That's it's very cool to see how like the different like things all end up coming together at the end, right? I think and it always helps when the original ideas that you guys sent in are pretty badass. So thank you, Kenny. I appreciate it. Yeah, right. Yeah, shoot me a message or whatever if you if you want me to send you any of this stuff, man. Whatever would help out. Yeah, appreciate you guys being here. It's this was a blast today. I guess I put off that guest solo a little bit longer. So on Thursday then I'll finish recording the solo for Lee Carlson's song, and I think Saturday I'll be working on my album again. Drummer is tracking most of the stuff I think this week, so it will be done. So yeah, album's coming along. Thank you guys for stopping by. Appreciate you. Appreciate the sponsors, Resistance Publishing. Be sure to check them out. They've got some cool new November's Doom stuff released, and they will be releasing my solo album, the tab book at least. And you can check out Swiss Picks. Those were the ones we were talking about a little bit earlier. Check out Limitless Cables. If you Limitless Cables, you can use the code Zack10, get 10% off. I keep clicking on the wrong things. I'm trying to find where we can raid people. Come on. You'd think I was like 80 years old trying to figure this stuff out sometimes. Right? It just doesn't it doesn't work. Yeah, this is not pulling up. Well, anyway, I appreciate you guys. Hope you have a good rest of your day. I'm gonna rage quit like an old 80-year-old and go eat something before I start teaching. So enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Thanks, guys.